Okay. Sainath, I'm starting the recording now. I think we can start the session. Okay, let me welcome. Hi, Sainath. Welcome to the Power Community event of Power BI Bootcamp. Uh, Sainath will be presenting how to visualize project plans in Power BI. It's a very interesting session from a project management perspective. I can see people can will love it. Sainath, all over to you, man. Then we can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Thank you so much, friends. Can you hear me now?
I can now.
Right. So, good morning, everyone. I hope the sun is shining nice and bright wherever you are. I'm going to go off camera just to make sure I'm using my maximum bandwidth for this session. So, okay. Right. So, welcome to the session. My name is Sainath Vasanta, and I'm a project manager at EY Ireland. Before EY, I worked with Deloitte in Ireland and Cognizant in the UK and India on various digital transformation programs. So throughout my career, I have worked with multiple clients and helped them solve some of their complex business programs using technology. We have an action-packed agenda for today's session. We'll start with an interesting business problem, which most of the project managers face. Then I'll walk you through a simple process where we'll solve this problem using Power BI. I'll also discuss one interesting client story where we used Power BI and the thought process behind creating this dashboard solution. Finally, we'll wrap up with some Q&A. Just a word of caution before we start the session. Although report and dashboard are two different things in Power BI, for the ease of presentation, I'll treat them as same. So if there are any Power BI Nazis on the session, please excuse me for that. Right. So the problem, if you are a project manager managing your project on Microsoft Project, currently there is no out-of-the-box solution that lets you visualize your project plan. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me, Prince?
Can hear.
Yeah, sorry, I think my broadband was patchy in a bit. Again, sorry. So going back to the problem again, if you are a project manager using MS Project to manage your project, currently there is no out-of-the-box solution that lets you visualize the project plan with nice little KPIs. For example, if you use Jira, by default, you can get the inbuilt Kanban boards, built-in dashboards that will help you to visualize or manage your project. But you don't have this advantage if you're using the Microsoft Project Desktop app. So how do we solve this problem? Using the workaround which I'm going to show you now, you can easily connect your project plan created on MS Project to Power BI and visualize it. Let's walk through this using an example, right? Let me just switch to MS Project. So assume you are a project manager and this is your project plan for building and implementing a COVID test and trace application, right? You can see here the different stages of the project, what are the tasks, duration, etc. And you assume you are using MS Project to manage your project. So now you want to visualize this plan. So the first step is to extract this plan into an Excel workbook. Okay. To do this, click on File and then click on Export. Under the Export, select Save Project as a file and then select Microsoft Excel workbook. Give a name to your project, file, and then click Save. Then it will take you to a wizard where you have to map these columns to the columns on your MS project to Excel columns. So click on Next, and then just click on Selected Data. Nothing to change here. And then select the new map, and then just use no need to select anything there. Select the tasks because we are on the task. So now you have this wizard where you can select, you can map these columns to Excel columns, right? So we'll give this name as task data. So the name which you are going to give here will be the name of your Excel tab. So I'm just giving task underscore data, and then now start selecting all the projects, all the columns, and then we'll export them. So we'll start selecting by um, name. That's going to be name. That's fine. And then we have duration, and then we have start date, which is start, and then we have finish, and then we don't need to export predecessors, but we can go to the next one. You can choose to export that as well, but it's not necessarily required. Again, this is not required each and every time. It's just only required for the first time. I'll show you once you have mapped all these fields. You can save this mapping as a map, and then from next time, you can use the same map to export all your data into Excel sheet. Right. So now I have. So now you have an option to either just finish it or save this as a map. I'm going to save this as a map so that I can reuse it next time. I'm going to give the name as Power BI Bootcamp underscore 2. So, and then that has saved all the mapping between your MS project to Microsoft Excel, and then click on finish. So once done, now you have your MS project um, file saved into an Excel. So I'll just go and open that and show it to you how it looks like. So as you can see now, all our project data has been exported into an Excel format. We have all our task names, we have the duration, we have the start date, finish date, all the resources who are assigned to that particular task, whether this is a milestone or is it a task, what is the status, and then the outline number, summary risk, etc., and the percentage complete status. So I'll just flick back onto the slide. So the detailed steps are here on this link as well. I'll share you the link in the chat just in a second. So as I said, the problem which we are trying to deal is we have an MS project file. We are managing our project on MS Project Desktop app, and there is no direct connection between this and Microsoft Power BI. So that's the reason why we are trying to see a workaround on how we can connect this to Power BI and then visualize all our project plans. So the first step we did is we exported our project into Excel workbook. We have mapped all the fields, and then we have uh, got this project plan into a spreadsheet format. The next thing is click on this Power BI desktop report. So this is the Power BI report which I have created already. So I'll share that as well. Um, I'll share the report as well after the session. So this report anyone can use to quickly visualize all the key KPIs of the project. Yes, share. So this is the report template, or basically Power BI template, report template, which I have built. So if you are, what you can do is you can, once you have downloaded the Excel spreadsheet, you can open this report and then click on the ellipsis here and then click on edit query. And then that will open your Power Query editor. So once you are on the Power Query editor, just change the source, click on the source, click on browse, and then just browse your project plan and then click OK. Once done, just click on close and apply. And then if you refresh the data, I haven't changed anything in the plan, so that obviously you'll not see any changes on the dashboard. But if you are connecting your project plan, it will refresh the dashboard with all the details. So what you have now is a nice little report where you can visualize all the key KPIs from your project, and you can also use the filters on top to slice and dice your data. For example, let's say if you want to see all the tasks which the business analyst is working on, you can select the business analyst, and then it will filter out all the details. It will tell you whether there are any key milestones which business analyst is solely responsible for, and how many of them are complete, and how much effort just the business analyst alone has used. Is estimated, and how much he has used, and then if there are any risks for on the tasks which the business analyst has been assigned for. So obviously, I have created, since most of my time is being spent at client side as a project manager, and a lot of our clients and business resources doesn't have the knowledge on how to create customized dashboards on Power BI. I have created this template, but obviously you feel free. You can choose your own KPIs and then create whatever type of dashboard you want. The key thing here is, if you have a MS project plan, just export into Excel. Once you have exported into Excel, you can plug that into Power BI and then use whatever template, or create your own template as you wish. Right. I will flick back onto slide deck now. So moving on, you may ask, okay, Sai, great. Do you have any other examples where we can use Power BI as a project manager, not just the simple KPI project plan which I have seen? And the answer is yes. On top left corner, uh, you can see something called process assurance dashboard. So this is a dashboard we have created for one of our senior client management teams. Basically, they wanted to they were moving from waterfall to agile, and then they wanted to see the adoption of the agile methodologies within their portfolio. So what we did is we pulled all the project data from each project at one place, and then we rolled up to a portfolio level, so that we have created this view. So if you are a portfolio uh, lead for portfolio A, you can come and see, okay, I have 3 projects in my program, and then you can filter that and see what is the level of adherence, or how many of them are now using agile methodologies and all that kind of stuff. So you can create a lot of different so the Power BI is not just for finance, or not just for um, very advanced analytics or data visualization. It can be as simple as measuring the adherence in your project. It can solve a lot of business problems if you can understand the different functionalities of it. Great. Another important thing which I want to mention here is, your dashboard doesn't need to be boring, right? All the time, you don't need to talk about line. You don't need to use line charts or pie charts, or on simple bar graphs to tell your story. You can use custom visualizations like this. So two of the custom visualizations which I really like are the aquarium visual. So if you just search on the Microsoft library, you'll find the aquarium visual. So what we did here is at one of the client side, we used this visual and to tell a story of how many performance issues we had each year. The bigger the fish, the bigger the performance issues in that particular year. So if you see a small fish, then it's particularly happy year with no performance issues. But the bigger fish here means there are more performance issues in that particular year. And the next interesting visual which I very like, custom visual which I like is the waffle chart. So instead of using a pie charts or any other bar graphs, um, waffle chart is a very good visualization technique in terms of telling your story in percentages. Um, you can use different colors. You can customize the dots as well to arrows, etc. But it's another great visual if you want to tell a story where you are measuring something in percentages. Right. Moving on, I want to touch upon three important steps which you need to do before you build any dashboard solution. Basically, I want to tell the story of how we created all these dashboards. So the first step is we all always think about your audience. Who is going to use this dashboard? So is it the CIO of your company or your teammates? That determines what actually goes into the dashboard. A CIO might want to see a helicopter view of all the portfolios, and your teammates are mostly interested in only about your project. So depending upon your audience, you need to tailor what visuals, and then how are you going to tell the story using your dashboard. So again, as I said, in the previous example which we see, the audience or portfolio leads, so they don't need um, a detailed view of inside this project, what is the adherence level in different areas, etc. They just want a high level overview of um, the adoption. But if you go to the other dashboard which we have seen here, this is majorly used for your project, your project manager and your teammates. They want to see a detailed information about where each and every task is at, if there is any risk, or how many milestones we have completed and all that kind of stuff. So depending upon audience, you should tailor your dashboard, and all these things you should um, think about, and then you should figure out before you even go and build something on Power BI. So once you have figured out who are the audience, the next thing is you need to define your insights, right? So I highly recommend creating a wireframe for your dashboard. This can be as simple and basic as drawing up a bunch of boxes on a piece of paper. Just take a piece of paper and put little boxes as you see here. And think about, okay, here I'm going to see total revenue, and here I want to see total profit, etc. This is very important because it will make it easier to decide on two things. Number one, what do you need? What data do you need to create this dashboard? Okay, do I need the data from all the projects? Do I need the data from the CRM system, etc.? And then secondly, whether you have access to all this data or not. For example, your client might ask, oh, I need to understand the profit from all the different areas, but you might not necessarily have access to all the data, or that might not be possible because of a lot of technical difficulties. So if you create a wireframe and then discuss all these things with your whoever is your client, it will make your life a lot more easier in terms of aligning and understanding what actually you are going to see in the dashboard, and then how you are going to see. And the last step is designing your flow. Okay, think about how you can get all this data into your dashboard. Do you need regular updates to your data? Or if so, if you need regular updates to your data, you're better off storing all this business data on SharePoint at least, so that you can configure automatic updates. Again, if we go back to our Microsoft project example, let's say if you need a regular update, another workaround is you can configure Microsoft Power Automate, or you can write a Power Automate flow to extract your project data into Excel, and then the Excel gets uploaded to SharePoint, and then you can easily configure regular updates from SharePoint to this Power BI dashboard. So think about the flow in this visual. Where am I going to get the data from, and do I need automatic updates, and how frequently I will update the data, and all those details. And then you can go and once you know who are the audience, once you know what you are going to see on the dashboard, and once you know how you are going to once you know what is the data flow, then you can go and build the dashboard. Right. Uh, Before we jump to the Q&A, I just want to do a quick wrap up with three key takeaways from this session. So number one, Power BI is part of Microsoft Office 365. So it's probably free for most of your clients, assuming they have Office 365 license. So please go and take advantage of this if you are not using already. Most of the, especially the business users, like the business analyst or a program manager who is not in the technology department, they might not even know. They might be using, Excel or something like that, and they might not know that Power BI is free, and then they can leverage this. So please advocate your team to go and use it. And the next thing, if you are using MS Project to manage your project, as we discussed today, you can export into Excel, and then you can easily connect that to Power BI and visualize the project plan. And the last thing is, before you build a dashboard, think about your audience, create the wireframe and flow. You will achieve quicker results, and you will be able to build your dashboard way more quicker if you follow this approach. Right. I'm happy to take that actually brings us to the end of the presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions that you guys may have now.
Okay, that was quick. And I think Sainath, you explained it pretty clearly about how to use Sainath, I think you can on your camera right now. I think now.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think you explained it quite clearly about how we can use how we can do analytics with MS Project Plan. That was something new to me as well. I never saw it. I'll start using it, and I think my team is not going to be very happy about it because I'm going to take out their real analytics from. But yeah, there are some questions. I'll read out to you. Can we schedule the periodic export of the data from project to MS Excel automatically?
As I said, on the MS Project app, desktop app, there is no inbuilt functionality, but you can use Power Automate and do that. You can use Power Automate and then build a flow. What I'm trying to say is inside the Power Automate, you have now the RPA capability where you can automate desktop actions if you are familiar with that. But there is no inbuilt functionality to automatically export the data and put it in some SharePoint, etc. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Does it answer? Try to unmute Pranam. Just give me a second, Pranam. Pranam, allowed your mic to be. You can unmute yourself and have a discussion with him. Pranam?
Yeah, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, we are able to hear you now.
Hi, Venkat. Does Power Automate support Power Project? Basically, I'm trying to look at something that can automatically export. I mean, it has to be manually done. So instead of that, if I say, for example, share my project file on SharePoint, and is there a possibility where I can use Power Automate to export? I know Power Automate desktop can do that basically, but again, it is attended, right? So I was just wondering if there is an unattended way of doing that.
Not that I am aware of. So you right now, if you are using MS Project Desktop, there is no unattended way. Uh, as far as I know, you have to do that manually. And then what we are doing is uh, most of our client requirements are we only need to present it, uh, present the view, the monthly view to the senior leadership team. So we'll just do it manually and then refresh the Power BI dashboard and then we present it. But as far as I know, there is no unattended automation to export your project plan into Excel.
Okay, thanks, Venkat. And how about Microsoft Project Online? Do we
Yeah,
have a native connector to connect to Power BI in that case?
if you have Microsoft Project Online, which is called, I think, Microsoft Project Plan 3, and Microsoft Project Plan 5. There are two versions of Microsoft Project Online. They do have Microsoft Project Plan 5 definitely has direct connectivity with Power BI. But Project Plan 3, I think there are some restrictions. I tried doing that with Project Plan 3, which is Project Plan Online, but I was not successful in doing that. So just we were just using the Power BI desktop app Project Plan desktop app for now. But if you have Project Plan 5, you can connect it directly to Power BI. You don't need to export and do all these things.
Okay, and it will follow the same rules as your other Power BIs, right? For example, 8 times a day you can have the refresh setup automatically and all.
Exactly. It's just like any other connector. Uh, you can just take the so on from SharePoint, so from Project Online, you can take the URL and then configure just like any SharePoint list or anything like that, and then you can connect and then uh, do automatic refresh and all that jazz.
Thanks, Venkat. That's very helpful.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, I think there's another one. There is no connector between MS Project and Power BI. I don't think so. There's a connector from we can't read it directly from MS Project from Power
Yes,
BI.
there is nothing from Project Desktop and Power BI.
Okay. If a project web, you can connect to tables in Dataverse.
Yes, if it is a project web, as I said, project online, uh, project Microsoft Project Plan 5, which is then you can connect for sure.
George, does this answer? Harish, does it answer? Science, how do you use this interest? So how do you use it to from more and from rather than from a reporting perspective? How do you use it for analytical perspective? How do you is there anything that you get predicted? You predict you predict how the users are working on it, or how does it work for you?
So lot of so at the moment, so I am part of the business consulting practice within EY. So a lot of the client requirements we work on, or I usually work on, are not not technology projects. We work on business projects. For example, let's say, um, how do I put it? I'm trying to think of an example which I can share. Um, um, let's say we have, um, during the COVID pandemic, we worked with one of the largest financial services client, where um, we are analyzing the impact of, suppose, let's say, if you have applied for a COVID payment break on 1st of April and your application has been processed after 2 weeks, there are a lot of knock-on impacts. And then all this business data is mostly in Excel and then scattered around places in MS SQL. Some of the data is in Excel, etc. So we need to analyze all this data, and then we need to come up with scenarios on how we can deal with all these risks. So all these kind of details we put it into Power BI, and then we understand how to present it visually and tell a story rather than doing using the machine learning algorithms or the AI or any sentiment analysis or something like that. I'm not close to any of the examples to share right now, but a lot of the projects which I deal with are with the business data, as I said, um, where you are um, doing a regulatory program and you need to tell a story using the data, or you're handling a project on MS project, which is a regulatory compliance project. And again, you need to uh, tell a story to the senior management team on where your project is at, what are the risks, and all that kind of stuff. So right now, we are not using any of the advanced analytics functionalities in Power BI that I know of.
Okay. I think George wants you to ask something. George, I've unmuted you. You can discuss. George, you can unmute yourself. Yeah. Sudhakar, I've unmuted yourself, unmuted you as well. If you want, you can discuss.
Hi, Venkat.
Hi, Sudhakar, how are you?
I'm fine, Venkat. How are you?
Great, thanks.
We are using Jira in our company, so as a project management tool. Now, Jira comes with a standard set of KPIs. We want to integrate the Jira with Power BI as well. So, do you have any experience or any workaround solutions to import the data from Jira and make it automatically updated from Jira to Power BI?
Sure. I would like to share my screen again here. That's a great question, Sudhakar, by the way. I'm glad you asked that, right? Um, so the process assurance dashboard, which you are seeing here, uh, all the data was actually managed in Jira. So now you have, so if you are managing your project using Jira, and obviously you want to take the advantage of Power BI because there is a lot of customization, and then you can transform your data before you actually present it. That option is not in Jira. So suppose, let's say, if you want to change names or use some measures, Jira doesn't have that functionality. So there are
Exactly.
two.
It has something called Easy BI, but it is not
Exactly, it has easy
satisfying.
BI, but again, it's
Yes,
clunky
yes,
and it's not
yes.
very user friendly. So now
Exactly.
you have two main options, right? Number one, uh, on the Jira, you can use the Jira queries, and then you can export the result uh, into an HTML format. Okay, so once you put the JQL Jira query, uh, and then
You mean
like new
JSON? You
future
mean?
is equal to, yeah, new future, yeah,
Yeah.
JSON or whatever
Okay.
format, right? You put the query,
Okay. Okay.
uh, and then
Okay.
uh, you put the query and then export into JSON or HTML or whatever, and then connect it to Power BI. Same thing like this. How we have exported the data from Microsoft Project Desktop into Excel. Similarly, the same
Mhm.
approach. You export your you put the query on Jira, export the data as JSON or HTML or whatever, and then you can import it into Power BI, and then you can visualize it. The only the disadvantage with that approach is obviously it is manual. And then the
Yeah.
second option
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the Jira, on the Atlassian marketplace, you have uh, you can purchase plugins where you can export the data into Power BI. So you have to purchase that.
Okay.
Obviously, there is a licensing cost involved, and you may need to do some security compliance thing as well if you are planning to implement it for at an enterprise level, etc. So, but there are so many
Okay.
connectors. Uh, I can share the
Mhm.
details later on with you. So
Sure.
you can purchase that on the Atlassian marketplace, and
Yeah.
that will allow you to connect Jira directly to Power BI.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Venkat. Thanks for your insights. This is what I've been looking for a long time. This information. I think this option will solve this issue for BI. Thank you.
Right. So nothing. Any other questions from anyone?
Hi there. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you. Before I ask my question, I just want to say, well done on the talk. It was very insightful. So thanks for that. But my question is, like, what is your exact role at EY? Like, so obviously I know project management, like, it's very big. A lot of people do that, but what exactly is your role at EY? And like, of course, how have you implemented Power BI to help you?
Right. So again, it's an interesting question, right? So I would like to I like to answer it in a couple of different ways. So EY, most of you might know, we are the Big Four consulting firm, and we have different service lines. So within the consulting practice, uh, I come under business consulting, and I sit under a team called. Uh, there is a fancy name, but I'll give you the more generic name, which is project and program management, right? So we provide project management support for a lot of our clients. So I'll give you an example of the projects which I was involved, and then you might get greater clarity. The first project which I was involved in was with a large financial institution where uh, they want to set up a lean change delivery model for their technology department. So everybody was using their own version of waterfall methodology to deliver projects. So we wanted to implement a uh, standardized change management framework, which is inspired from agile methodologies. And as part of that, we implemented Jira and Confluence throughout the bank. Previously, they were using, MS Project or Excel sheets to manage their project plans, and everybody was emailing around 100 different documents just to get their project done. So now what we have done is we have implemented uh, Jira and Confluence throughout the bank. So whenever there is a project, let's say you're developing a COVID text and trace app, for example, or let's say you're developing a foreign exchange mobile application for that bank. So you create an initiative on Jira, and then you take it through the phases, and then automatically tasks get assigned, etc. And on top of, and once we have implemented throughout the bank, the example which I shared, we measured the adoption within the portfolios using that dashboard, and then we drilled more into it in terms of data. Once we have got more data on Jira, then we have seen how many projects are actually closing within 60 days time frame, 90 days time frame, and all that kind of stuff. So I basically provide project management support in terms of, like, I have done IT projects with a lot of different financial services companies before I joined EY. So I bring the expertise of, like, let's say, so I tell me, do we need to even measure this particular metric? Do you think we need to, once we move to agile, uh, is there a requirement of business requirement document? How can we help the project managers understand they don't need, no don't need this document, and all that kind of stuff? And then I was involved in other projects where I was doing standard project management, chasing people, creating project plans, and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm doing involved with another large utilities company, where they are using Excel sheet uh, to for a lot of their operations. For example, let's say any of their standard weekly or monthly reporting, they are just using pivot charts in Excel and then putting it on PPTs and all that kind of stuff. So now I'm automating everything using Power BI and Power Automate and then Microsoft Power Apps. So small little Power Apps where you know uh, small little Power App where you can open from your mobile, and then submit a weekly survey instead of going to Microsoft Forms or anything like that. So that Power Apps data will go into Microsoft List, and then it will go into Power BI. All these kind of uh, automation things I'm involved in at the moment, but my core skill is project management and business analysis and problem solving, I suppose. A lot of things I know, but in a nutshell, this is what I'm.
Thank you for your answer. That was great. Thanks.
Okay, the question is not related, but still I'll ask. Yeah, so how do you learn Power Automate since it is so new? Does EY provide training in automation to its staffs? So it's not relevant, but I just asked.
Yeah, no problem. I would love to answer that question. Thanks for asking that, Kevin. So yes, so obviously you might know EY is one of the platinum partners for Microsoft. So they do provide. So we have internally we have a Power Platform community within EY, and then Microsoft also come and do tailored sessions for EY staff where they provide training on Power Automate, Power BI, Power Virtual Agents, and all that kind of stuff. And everybody has Office 365 premium licenses across the globe wherever you work in EY. So you can learn it on your own time and then experiment, deploy, do whatever you want. And then we also have specific training directly from Microsoft and internally, like lunch and learn sessions and all that kind of stuff. And then like we have access to Udemy Business. So it's up basically most, I would say 80% is self-learning. All the tools and then resources are there for self-learning, and 20% is guided learning through these lunch and learn sessions and then the Microsoft sessions. I just learned it because I am interested personally. I just love to solve business problems using technology, and I try to explain people who are not that related to technology, and then just explain them how you can use uh, various different technologies to solve all their business problems. So I just learned it on my own during the pandemic. Kind of helped me. So I actually have to thank Chris as well, because I joined the Power BI community on the meetup and all. I attended a lot of different sessions on which Chris and other people hosted, and that's how I learned um, Power BI and Power Automate. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing your experience. Thanks for sharing your experience, Sainath. I think this is done. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Before we wrap up, before we let Sainath enjoy the weekend in Ireland. And enjoy the Tokyo Olympics, if someone is seeing it.
There was another question from Eves. Um, Apologies if I am not pronouncing the name right. Power Platform works with Dynamics. How is it at work? My question is there a way to create view in Dynamic and use it as a data set in Power BI? So I am not close to Dynamics, but one thing which I know is if you publish your report into any workspace, basically, it creates a data set. And then you can share that data set. You can you can choose to share the data set with whomever you want, and people can build any reports on top of that data set. So I guess even if you are sharing if you create a report using the data from Dynamics 365, and then if you publish it, that spins up a small little data set in Power BI service. And then if you share that data set, then pretty much anybody can use that data set and then spin up their own reports.
If does it answer? So what Sainath is trying to tell is that you can create a data set, a particular data set, and then publish it in the Power BI service, and then others can use that data set to create their own reports. So maybe it's not a view within a database, but I think you can create a views in the database and still use it. That's what my understanding is. I also don't use database a lot, so I'm also not sure, but I think that's possible within database itself.
Right. If
Is there any? Can it be live streaming? I think you can have a direct query with data wars, and if you can have a direct query, then that it could be. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thanks. Sorry, I answered on Sainath. Yeah. Sorry, Sainath.
No problem. Thanks, Prince. Right. I think that if there are no further questions, I would like to thank everyone for attending this session, and also the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present today. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, my handle is Sainath Vasanta, and then I'm happy to answer any more questions, just like how to connect your Jira or MS project, or anything related to Power BI in general, and how to solve your business problems using technology. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Sainath. Thanks, Sainath. Thanks for a very informative session, and thanks for the interactions. And makes it more interesting. Yeah, Sainath, I will stop the recording now, and post which you can switch off the camera, and I'll put it back to you on the presenter mode. I hope you guys you also enjoy the other sessions.